I wrote an article about this, but I feel like turn-based RPGs are really underrated. Now, don't get me wrong; they're always coming out. I don't know why I remember this. It's so random, but I remember I Am Setsuna. That game came out. Everybody was talking about how it's like, oh, Chrono Trigger's spiritual successor. Even though they made Chrono Cross Square like in the '90s. It's fine. I'm pretty sure that game came out in like 2015, which is 9 years ago. But for my mental health, we're just gonna skip over that. But when I think of turn-based RPGs, I immediately go to Final Fantasy, Persona, Dragon Quest, Like a Dragon. I feel like Final. I feel like I have so many thoughts that I want to put out here. I feel like turn-based games are really kind of underrated and honestly not loved nowadays. I'm glad we still have Persona. I'm glad Like a Dragon is turn-based now. Like I mean, if you ask me, would I rather play an action game or a turn-based game? I'm gonna choose the action game. But I think it's really fun how we have this new series that did that transfer. Because if you think about it, it's usually the other way around. Usually, the turn-based games turn to action games. I mean, look at Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is it used to be textbook turn-based, and now it's action. Everybody was calling, oh, Final Fantasy 16 is just Devil May Cry. IGN made that article where it's like, oh, God of War is more of an RPG than Final Fantasy 16, whatever. I find it interesting how game series can evolve and change over time, and I'm glad Dragon Quest, 11 was the last game that came out. The game came out in like 2016, 2017. It's still turn-based. I still really want to get into Dragon Quest. But I appreciate that for the sake of keeping to the game's legacy. And we still have new turn-based games like Octopath Traveler. We still have new strategy games. I remember Triangle Strategy came out a couple years ago. We're still getting new turn-based games. And again, like Persona came out this year, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth came out this year. These games are successful, but I feel like whenever I bring up turn-based, people just like roll their eyes or they don't take it seriously. And I think turn-based is great. Like turn-based is a fucking art form. Like I view turn-based games as being as artful as like the old school Resident Evil games with the fixed camera. Because when you take away elements of gameplay that forces those force the player to act in certain ways, whether it's fixed cameras or having turn-based RPG mechanics, it adds so many new layers to the game, and I feel like that's really underrated. Like if I was gonna make a game, I'd really fuck with fixed cameras. Imagine a fixed camera RPG. I mean, well, that was pretty much like most standard. What am I talking about? That was like most standard RPGs. Resident Evil RPG, turn-based. There's probably a fan game out there. I love turn-based RPGs, and I think we should put more respect on their names.